I am free today after years of incarceration because I pled guilty to journalism.
Assange is speaking freely. A man who sacrificed so much that we might speak freely is now speaking freely himself. Let's not forget that collectively Julian Assange spent nearly 10 years incarcerated in one form or another, 5 years of that under the harshest conditions imaginable in Belmarsh without trial. Now he's been released and he's talking about the assassination attempt that the CIA orchestrated. He's talking about Mike Pompeo. He's talking about deep state power. Indeed, Julian Assange has always drawn our attention to the ulterior motives that run American foreign policy and ultimately the systems of power that dominate the world. He also has drawn our attention to atrocities and war crimes, and he has also facilitated the release of information that makes us better able to assess the nature of our government. In the truest sense of the word, Julian Assange is a hero. And of course, like anyone who opposes great power, he was attacked. Allegations that I presume to be untrue were made against him. He was attacked in a variety of ways. He was imprisoned in an embassy, although he actually was sort of taking sanctuary there. I went and visited him in that embassy. It was a crazy time. Julian Assange is now free, presumably under some conditions, and he is speaking out about what he believes to have been the conditions that led to his, surely illegal, incarceration, as well as the plot to kidnap and assassinate him by Mike Pompeo, who at that time was the head of the CIA. Let's enjoy the spectacle, the first video I've seen of Julian Assange free. I mean, I saw a couple of shots of him on an aeroplane, but here's Julian Assange doing what he does best, telling the truth.
I want to be totally clear. I am not free today because the system worked. I am free today after years of incarceration because I pled guilty to journalism. I pled guilty to seeking information from a source. I pled guilty to obtaining information from a source, and I pled guilty to informing the public what that information was. I did not plead guilty to anything else. President Trump had been elected. He appointed two wolves in MAGA hats, Mike Pompeo, a Kansas congressman and former arms industry executive, as CIA director, and William Barr, a former CIA officer, as US Attorney General. By March 2017, WikiLeaks had exposed the CIA's infiltration of French political parties, its spying on French and German leaders, its spying on the European Central Bank, European economics ministries, and its standing orders to spy on French industry as a whole. We revealed the CIA's vast production of malware and viruses, its subversion of supply chains, its subversion of antivirus software, cars, smart TVs, and iPhones. CIA Director Pompeo launched a campaign of retribution. It is now a matter of public record that under Pompeo's explicit direction, the CIA drew up plans to kidnap and to assassinate me within the Ecuadorian embassy in London, and authorized going after my European colleagues, subjecting us to theft, hacking attacks, and the planting of false information. My wife and my infant son were also targeted. A CIA asset was permanently assigned to track my wife, and instructions were given to obtain DNA from my 6-month-old son's nappy. This is the testimony of more than 30 current and former US intelligence officials speaking to the US press, which has been additionally corroborated by records seized in a prosecution brought against some of the CIA agents involved. The CIA's targeting of myself, my family, and my associates through aggressive extrajudicial and extraterritorial means provides a rare insight into how powerful intelligence organizations engage in transnational repression. Such repressions are not unique. What is unique is that we know so much about this one due to numerous whistleblowers and to judicial investigations in Spain.
Mike Pompeo's not coming over very well in this video, is he? He's coming across as perhaps a draconian instrument of an even more fierce and insidious power. Mike Pompeo is a person who has caused Tucker Carlson to reflect unfavourably on the CIA. Isn't it curious as well that we were told that when Donald Trump said that the CIA was an organisation in radical need of reform. Well, isn't it interesting that when Donald Trump spoke about releasing the JFK murder files, that it was publicly stated that you can't attack those agencies and think that you're gonna get away with it. How powerful are these organizations? What is the nature of their power? And if their power transcends and bypasses electoral politics, what's the point in having these elections? Do the truly powerful remain in power regardless of which side wins? Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Is the nature of globalism a kind of magnetic pull between deep state bureaucratic power and global corporate commercial power, and how those two sets of permanent interests are either side of the observable flux of domestic politics? Deep state power remains, global corporatism remains, donations continue, and the sort of transient figures passing through Congress, they come, they go, they pass, they expire, but real power remains. Certainly Julian Assange is a hero because he commented on the nature of that power, he exposed some of its worst excesses, and now, free barely a matter of months, is informing us how the very problems that led to his incarceration are continuing and have been exacerbated, and how we should be very wary of the state, of the media, of surveillance and censorship, of smearing, of bringing people down, of controlling opponents. And figures like Mike Pompeo appear to be the visible aspect of a very serious and threatening power. We can't continue to bring you this beautiful content without the support of our partners. We've always been told that wrinkle creams were the easiest way to look younger. Dr. John Lakey, world-renowned Beverly Hills beauty expert, says that most wrinkle fixes on the market are nothing but glorified moisturizers. Dr. Lakey has pursued a revolutionary anti-aging breakthrough. His personal clients have dubbed his new do-it-yourself technique the age rewinder method, because it can take years off your appearance in under 2 minutes. It's like those 2 minutes never happened though, because you're even younger now. Dr. Lakey has released a step-by-step video for free where he outlines exactly how to use this simple solution from home. The video's gone viral. At first it was shared by users on Facebook, but since then it's racked up over 2.3 million views. You can find out more about this yourself. Go to bhmd1.com/brand or click the link in the description box. That's bhmd1.com/brand. So watch the video at bhmd1.com/brand right now, or click the link in the description box below. Why should you age even a day? Why not live for all eternity like a character in a myth? Have a look at the video in the link below. Here's Tucker Carlson talking about the time that he himself was threatened by Mike Pompeo.
61 years later, both Trump and Joe Biden have, in violation of my read of federal law, kept those documents secret. There's no living person connected to the Kennedy assassination. It was a couple generations ago. There's no one person whose secrets are being protected. It's an institution, or maybe countries. There may have been countries involved too. I mean, I don't know the answer, but there's clearly something worth protecting. And I know that when I spoke to someone who'd seen the documents, 2 years ago, and I got one fact out of him, which is, yes, the CIA was involved. And by CIA is a huge organization, but James Jesus Angleton, the head of the operations directorate, had knowledge of this, which I think is well known. But that's the view of someone who saw the documents. So I thought that was news. So I went on TV and said that. The next day, I'll never forget it, I went quail hunting. And I was driving back, and I got a phone call from Mike Pompeo's lawyer. Mike Pompeo was the Secretary of State, but before then, he was the director of the CIA. And in that position, he plotted the murder of Julian Assange. So he is a criminal as far as I'm concerned. But his lawyer called me and said, you should know that anyone who tells you the contents of classified documents has committed a crime. He's threatening me. He's in my car. with my dog sitting next to me, I'll never forget this. And I said, are you really saying that to reveal that the U.S. government had a role in the murder of a democratically elected president, to say that out loud, that's the crime? What about the actual crime, which is murdering a president? Like, you're covering up for that, Mike Pompeo.
What did he say to that?
He had no response at all. And so Mike Pompeo is the one who pressed Trump to keep those documents secret. And so it's like, what's crazy to me is not just that Pompeo did that. I think Pompeo is a really sinister person and a criminal. I think that because the facts suggest that. He was caught. Yahoo News, Mike Isikoff wrote a long piece on this several years ago. His employees went to Mike Isikoff and said, hey, Mike Pompeo is plotting to murder Julian Assange, who's never even been charged with a crime in the United States, as CIA director. That's illegal. You're not allowed. Federal employees are not allowed to just kill people they don't like. Okay, just to set the baseline here. So that's who Mike Pompeo is. But he somehow intimidated Trump into not releasing this. Well, okay, that's all bad, right? I think it's criminal behavior. What's crazy is how Mike Pompeo is treated. He's treated as like a Republican poobah in good standing. He fully expects to become the Secretary of Defense in a Trump administration, which is like completely insane. Why would you take a criminal and give him nuclear weapons? Okay, that's my view. I think it's a common sense view. And like, he goes to fundraisers and dinners and everyone's like, hey, Mike Pompeo. It's like, no, you're the guy who kept information the public has a right to know secret. You're the guy who plotted the murder of someone who committed no crime. You are the outlaw. You are the bad guy. But no, he's treated as like, like a pillar of Republican Washington. I think it's mind-bending to watch that.
I also wonder why people hate Tucker Carlson when you see stuff like that. Because isn't he like plainly unpacking the true nature of deep state power? Like, sure, he's like a conservative person and he wears like conservative clothes and has a conservative haircut, but he's plainly interested in real freedom and also plainly not interested in curtailing the freedom of people that have different social views. And indeed, even when he comments on that stuff, I think it's the way that those ideas are used to legitimize authority and censorship. We're going to have to really grow up, I think, and create some new alliances. And the thing that excites me about Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard joining the MAGA movement is the possibility to have something genuinely anti-establishment. Perhaps the perceived excesses of Donald Trump could be reined in by a figure as evidently and plainly dignified as Tulsi Gabbard. Perhaps the pharmaceutical industry and the agencies that are supposed to regulate both Big Pharma and American health more widely ought now be rightly terrified, as well as deep state agencies, that someone like Bobby Kennedy could be 35 days away from government. Because I sat with him and he explained to me, and like an audience, I was talking to him with an audience with Tulsi Gabbard as well, exactly how job by job he would break down the bureaucracies that afford Big Pharma the ability to exploit the American population, that he would attack the big food industry that keeps y'all sick and eating filthy and addicting foods. And while I was listening to him, I thought, no wonder the media are attacking this guy on a daily basis, trying to destroy his reputation, trying to make him look like some kind of crackpot, trying to bring him down with all manner of insidious plots. This is a powerful, well-intentioned man. It's exactly the kind of person you want in government. And I'd say the same thing about Tulsi Gabbard as well. Look, you know me, I want sort of real radical change right down to the level where we run our own communities and grow our own food and try to bring about the kingdom of the Lord on earth individually and collectively, respecting the freedom of one another. But you're not going to get that, I'm telling you now, and I'll be astonished if anyone thinks otherwise, with the Harris-Walz ticket. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. Is this an opportunity for us to unify, to approach politics differently? Is it possible that 2016 Donald Trump is not 2024 Donald Trump? How could he be with figures like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK on the crew? And when you watch someone like J.D. Vance last night in that debate, doesn't he seem just like an old school senator, charismatic, well-informed, well-intentioned, well-versed, well-educated, self-made? What do you want from people these days? I don't know. Me, I want your individual freedom. Me, I believe in your free speech and I believe in your right to be healthy and free and certainly not to die in an apocalypse. I believe in your right to become who you are under God, and even if you don't believe in God. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments in the chat? If you're watching this on YouTube, turn on the notification bell, because I tell you, they won't let you watch it. They will not have it. They won't have it over there. They'll direct you towards some sort of MSNBC propagandist nonsense. That's the way they roll. Stay free if you can. Our new The Oracle series, our first ever group interviews designed to bring the greatest and most authoritative voices in particular subjects together for the very first time. Robert Malone, Dr. Pierre Corey, and Steve Kirsch.
What we've experienced is a globally deployed psychological bioterrorism playbook. It's well developed.
And then I started to see just global propaganda directed at essentially distorting, dismissing, and suppressing the evidence of efficacy. And I saw it as a crime.
And at that point, I knew that this was not just a coincidence. There were too many black swans over too short a period. I've never heard anything like this story in my life.
They seem to get the human psyche so well when it comes to brainwashing us and propagandizing us to the direction that they want us to go in, that you would think that they would know that pulling all of these various tactics would actually just push support towards Trump, not away from him.
Ryan Ruth, some of his posts even show that he appeared to have been working with, in his own words, the U.S. Embassy in Kiev. He's doing effectively military intelligence, human trafficking of terrorists.
It's in this context that I think Ruth was kind of radicalized. He decided that while he wanted to assassinate Putin, the easier thing would be to assassinate Donald Trump.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.